Gradients is a design technique where there is gradual blending from one color to another. Today, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to design a gradient in Canva. Let's look at the first type. We're going to go to presentation, 16 by 9 presentation. Click R on your keyboard. It's going to come up with a square, and you will just move that square over to the corner and then drag it down. There are little white lines. Now, if for some reason your keyboard shortcut's not working, you can always go to the Element tab, and right here on the Element tab, there is a square right there. If you have a brand kit set up like I do, it's going to automatically show up in your brand kit color. I'm just going to use this size right here. I'm going to duplicate that and then set this one right beside it, and then watch this. Duplicate. It automatically sets right next to it. I'm going to duplicate it again, and then I'm going to duplicate it one more time. I do not need more space. Now I can leave it exactly how it is, but I'm going to use my mouse. I'm going to left click and I'm going to highlight over all of those. And then I'm going to size it so that they're all the same size and cover the presentation. And if you go in, you can really see that there is a line between them. But for this effect, it will be okay. So the first one, we're going to leave at 100. And by the way, you can do this with any color. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like with other colors as well. So we're going to go to number 2 here. And at the top, there is a transparency button. We're going to click that, and then we're going to go down so that it's at 80. And then the next one, guess what? We're going to go down to where it's 60. This one, 40. This one will be 20. And I actually could have left this the size that it was so that I had some white spaces on the end. So let's do that. I may need to make it a little bit bigger here. Watch, I can change the color to be anything I want. What if I wanted it to be this blue? I can click this, and now I can click down here at the bottom, change all, and look, it's going to give it this. I could change it to a yellow, change all. I could do an orange. So I could do it with any color I want, including a black. You can even search for different colors using the color wheel. What if we use this green, change all? We need to download it. So we're going to click share, download. We do not want a PDF standard. We actually want a PNG, and download. This is an important step. I'm going to add a page. I'm going to go to uploads, and I'm going to upload that file. I'm going to click it, right click, replace background. When you click your image, a panel pops up. We're going to click edit image, and then there's this feature called adjust. Brightness, contrast, saturation, we're not touching that. Click see all so that we can adjust the blur. The blur is what will give it a gradient effect. If you want this for future designs or whatnot, let's create a folder here, custom gradients. We're going to create a folder. I'm going to download this. I'm going to choose that second page. I want to find that folder that I just made. Here it is, custom gradient. We can just select the file and it will go right into that folder. The next gradient that I create, I can put it also into this folder. And in a little bit, I'll show you how you can change this to be a different color after you've designed it. Let's move on to gradient style number 2. And for this one, we're going to use a video document type. We're just going to make a vertical document type because I want you to see that this can really work with a whole bunch of different things. This is another free gradient, but it is not available on mobile device at this time. And what you're going to do is go down to apps, type in the word draw. So it suggests Draw Beta. I've got a tutorial about the Draw Beta app, so I'm not going to go into what it is, but you can use any one of these and draw your gradient. So let's click marker. I'm just going to make it the biggest size and no transparency. I recommend just using a bunch of different colors. So let's try this. And I'm just going to go at the top here. And then I'm going to go to the next color, which is very similar. And I'm just using my mouse. But if you have a tablet and a draw, one of those tablet pens, you can use that as well. So I'm just using the white here. So you see it looks like that. And then we're going to click done. It's an image already. We can click edit image and then we can do the same thing. We can blur it. In order to make sure the edges are completely covered, I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger. What I'm going to do is download this, not an MP4, I want a PNG, and then I'm going to put it into that custom gradient. Click the three dots. We're going to upload it into gradients. Let's look at a square gradient. So we're going to go to social media. The reason I like using an Instagram post size is that it is the same size for YouTube community tab. So I love that. What we're going to do at this point is go to our elements tab and we're going to type in gradient. And so you see here, there's a whole bunch of graphics. We're going to click see all. It actually automatically tabs over to graphics. And you can use any one of these gradients you want. This one is a free gradient that goes from gradient to transparency. So if I change the background of this, the gradient is going to look different. Do you see what I'm saying? And you can even take it over a little bit. And you don't want to change the color of the background, but what you would do is add a rectangle. So R on the keyboard, and we will just go like that. And I'm going to click this gradient and then left over with the keyboard. I just want to make sure that line is solid. So do you see what this gradient looks like now? And then what we're going to do is click share, download. It's already a PNG for me. We're going to download that. I'm going to add this one to my custom gradient. That one is free. Now I want to show you the same type of style on one that is not free. This one is called Gradient That Fades to Transparency, and it is a Canva Pro element. So you can change the color of the gradient itself. This one, the gradient starts off really low. So if I did white, it would look like that. If I did black, it would look like that. That's a really cool look. You want your gradient to start off higher like this, then all you need to do are on your keyboard and then size it. And then you want to make sure that it is the same exact color, and it is. Move it down, but if you move it down too far, it doesn't look right. So you need to make sure that you've got it positioned correctly. That's not, and I know that it's not because I see that black line between it. So I'm just going to take it and use the arrows on my keyboard to nudge it down. I'm going to choose that second page and download it. You can use any of these gradients you want. And as a bonus tip, you can even use things that look like this and turn them into gradients simply by using the blur. Now that we've designed 3 different gradients, we're going to look at how to make them different using the Color Mix app, using filters, and a double click to design. Let's just go to videos, and we're going to go to a regular video like this. I've got my custom gradients here in the folder, and here is gradient number 1. Now, gradient number 1 is really easy for a 16 by 9 because it was designed in the 16 by 9 size. But what if you don't want it to be green? Let me show you what you can do. You can go to edit image and there's something called color mix, and you can actually change it to a couple of different hues in color mix, and those are really cool. You can even double click this and change the hue this way. That is very much one way to change the color of a gradient that you've already designed. Let's look at this one because this one is not the same size. It's for a vertical video and this is a horizontal video. So all you need to do is just resize it like this. And when you first resize it, you're going to think, well, that doesn't look like a gradient, but let me show you how you can fix that. Double click and then left click and slide it up. This looks slightly different than what you designed, but it's because you are putting a vertical gradient into a horizontal one. So of course it's not going to look exactly the same. Another thing that you can do is add a filter to it, which will give it a slightly different look. What if we click peony? So then that gives it sort of a cotton candy look. Let's click dalliance or edge. Look at all of these different filters that you can do. And when I click see control, you can even change the intensity on it. But then when I go look at adjust, look at all the things that it adjusted for me that changed how this gradient looked before. This is what the gradient looked like before, and this is what the gradient looks like now. Let me show you this one. If you double tap this, you can actually adjust where the gradient falls within the square. Another way that you can make some adjustments other than the double tap method, we can right click, set image as background and do the same thing. And that's going to give you a different gradient. And you can use those two things that I talked about, the color mix and the filters, to change the color. You could also even use this photogenic, which will give it also a different look. These are more natural looking gradients here. You can even click it and change the intensity a little bit. Click apply. Now with this one, it does not change the adjust filter at all because it's not a filter. It changes the image itself. If you don't have Canva Pro yet and you want to give it a try, make sure you click in the description because I've left a link for you there and it will allow you to resize your gradients from rectangle to square really, really easy. And if you really like this style of lesson, I think that you will really enjoy the video that's on your screen right now. It's going to teach you a lot more, and I think that you really are ready to learn the next step. I'll see you next time. Bye.